Hello, and welcome to this week's version of Business Success Fertilizer Applications, brought to you by Referral Exchange Networking. This week, we're going to talk about how to get people to open your emails. There was a study conducted just last year, 2020, that revealed that the average business person receives 121 emails per day. That study also showed that 45% of them are spam. In fact, 3.4 billion fake emails are sent every day. Now, in general, emails have an open rate just shy of 25%. When you break it down a bit more and look at email marketing, the open rate drops to about 18%. Interestingly, 46% of all emails last year were opened on a mobile device. But with the glut of emails in our inbox every day, we barely glance at the subject line. If it doesn't grab our attention within a second, we're on to the next one. No matter that the content may be important, if the subject line isn't intriguing, we're not interested. Now, if you're running an email campaign, it's typical that most of recipients won't know who you are. In a recent article by Walker Sands, an integrated PR and digital marketing agency, they point out that in an email campaign, the value of the subject line is especially critical because this may be your first and only shot at connecting with that potential client. In the article, they offer several general guidelines for impactful subject lines that will increase open rates. These include, number one, keep it brief. Subject lines need to quickly grab the recipient's attention. It's estimated that subject lines with 50 characters or less result in 12% higher open rates and 75% higher click-through rates than emails with longer subject lines. The takeaway? Keep it less than 50 characters and focus on quickly putting your best foot forward. Number two, they suggest make the subject line so it piques their interest. Subject lines have to be interesting and unique. Stay away from overused words and cliches and try to present your audience with a hook that captures their attention and insensitizes them to learn more by opening the email. Number three, they say offer value. The best subject lines communicate the promise of value. In other words, your subject line has to convince the recipient that the email contains information or messaging that will improve their lives and or their businesses. And finally, they say to build trust. Trustworthiness is a priority for brands that understand the importance of subject lines. The information contained in your email should be consistent with the promise you made in the subject line. Also, it's critical to make sure that your subject line is free of spelling or grammatical errors to preserve credibility with your audience. Now, from my own experience, I have some additional suggestions that I have found valuable. Number one, I suggest know your audience. Know their needs, their values, and be sure your subject line includes words that reflect them. Is your audience going to be focused on cost, return on investment, quality, dependability, or something else? Make sure your subject line has words that reflect their value or what they're looking for. Number two, contingent on the audience. Don't be afraid to be clever. I wrote a subject line that said, getting hit by a train is painful. In the text of the email, the sender had talked about changes to the industry that were rapidly approaching and how if you didn't prepare for them, your business would be hurt. Well, I changed the text a bit and used the metaphor of a runaway train coming down the tracks. The new subject line increased the open rate by a factor of 10. Also, use an active rather than passive voice. For example, my train-inspired subject line could have been, getting hit by that train is going to hurt. It's not a big change, but it has more impact. Also, I suggest ask a question. If the receiver of your email is only going to look at the subject line for a second, asking a question forces them to consider and visualize your question, if only for a moment. And a moment in terms of email is an eternity. And finally, don't ignore the preview. All emails have a preview that follows the subject line. Use it. Any messaging opportunity is important. Don't simply repeat your initial subject line. Create something new and engaging. Lauren McDonald, author of Almost Everything You Wanted to Know About Email Marketing, said, the from line is what recipients use to determine whether to delete an email. The subject line is what motivates people to actually open it. So if you want to increase your email open rate, your marketing campaign's open rate, you have to have a good subject line. Now, if anybody wants to know more about that, send me an email. You can send it to info@speakingofsuccess.us or comment here on this YouTube page and we can have a discussion. Also, if you want to know more about referral exchange networking and how we can help you grow your business, I'd love to have that conversation with you as well. So I hope everybody gets something useful out of this, and hopefully I'll see you all next week. Take care. Bye-bye.